everyone, it's Hayes, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the final episode of Miraculous Ladybug Season 6, Nemesis, and what I thought about it. I know the episode came out at midnight on Saturday, but I had to work all weekend, which is why this video is going up on Monday. My apologies, but I have since watched the episode. And I think overall I would describe my feelings around this episode as rather underwhelmed, particularly for a season finale. Had this episode been like at the middle of the season, for example, I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more, in some aspects, not all. But as a season finale, I'm a bit like, I feel like Secret Protocol was much better, personally. So 7 out of 10. Also, this video, I've already seen it on Twitter. I've been off Twitter for 2 days, logged back on to a load of people being absolutely horrible to Alia. This video is not going to contain any Alia slander because 1, I loved her, 2, I've always loved her, 3, she was correct in this episode, and I agree with her. She was right. I already said at the end of Recreation that they shouldn't have done this with Gabriel, so I've been in agreement with Alia before she found out. So she was correct, so if you're looking for me to say horrible things about her, you will not find it here because she is correct. But like I said in previous commentaries about the plans and stuff, whilst I appreciate them and I do think it was a good plan, it was definitely a waste of time to Marinette to tell everyone, or the Ladybug to tell everyone what the plan was and then do the plan straight away, because I already knew at that point it wasn't gonna work because she'd already told everyone. Honestly, I think it would have been more effective if she didn't say the plan. They went ahead with it, but it ends up going wrong anyway, and then they could have had extra airtime for, you know, conversations between Marinette and Alia, Marinette and Adrian. Also something from Lila. I did think it was quite surprising considering the gravity of the episode, you know, they found her lair. I did think it was quite surprising they didn't end the episode with a scene from Lila somewhere in there, whether that was post-credits or just before it. It seemed a little bit odd to me. So yeah, I just feel a little bit underwhelmed by it. So I don't think it was a bad episode, but as a season finale, I don't think it was the greatest, and I think Secret Protocol was much better. So I did like the opening with Alia. Don't get me wrong, it's 7 out of 10. There's still some good stuff in it. I did like the opening with Alia, so she's figured it out. I don't know if this takes directly place after Anansi. I need to rewatch things and work it out. What I'm assuming has happened possibly is that Alia has been spending several times trying to work out what happened, this being one of them, this being the last one, and when she works it out she goes straight to Marinette. She doesn't wait around. So I don't think she would have worked this out by the end of Anansi and then waited a couple of episodes. I think she would have gone to Marinette straight away, so I'll have to rewatch Anansi to be able to work out the order of stuff, which I will be doing a chronological order video. I just need to, you know, rewatch the whole season first. And I worked out pretty quickly that she was going to figure it out on her own several weeks ago. I think that was the way it was going. There was no way Marinette was ever going to tell her. And I loved the little scene with Marinette and her parents. I did already know that this wasn't a part 1, part 2. Thomas had said they're related but they don't follow on from each other the same way like Confirmation, Recreation, Risk and Strike Back do. I already knew that wasn't going to happen, but I'm really glad we got a little bit of content with them where they offered to, like, you know, can we, you know, clean your outfit, and she was like, you don't need to. Although I did find it interesting that she told him that, oh yeah, Adrian doesn't actually know, which would have been funny if they were like sat having tea together and they just mentioned it and he was like, couldn't say what. And oh my god, the voice note from Alia though, she's like, oh hey, can we have a chat? The way she says it, it's just like, oh, something's going on. And then the call with Adrian. First of all, right, okay, I understand Adrian's thinking here. Although how big is this museum going to be? It looks like on the plans he shows maybe like the entire ground floor of the house. Like, okay. The statue, oh my god. But then, where was Natalie? Like, surely he's been preparing this for a while. He'll have needed some help logistically. So, you know, where on earth was Natalie in all of this? On holiday? With her dad? I don't know. And then I really actually enjoyed basically the kind of mini argument they have where Adrian's like, okay, I'll talk later. I really enjoyed it, and I do think it is foreshadowing what's to come, which obviously by the end of the episode it sounds like Marinette has decided she has to break up with him. Not because she doesn't love him, because she's lying to him, which, yeah, I think that's fair, to be honest. I want some relationship drama. I'm fine with that. I've wanted relationship drama, honestly, since they got together in season 5, so I'm fine with that. And then the scene with Alia. And I really enjoyed how complex they both were in the scene, even though I disagree with Marinette. So I did like the way the scene was written, where Alia comes and she's just like, look, this is what happened, here's me visualising what happened. And I've seen a lot of people saying like, oh, well, why didn't Alia show the basement? Because Alia doesn't know the murder basement exists. Okay, that's why Alia didn't show the basement, because she doesn't know it exists. So to Alia's mind, this all happened in the foyer of the Egress mansion. Alright, or anywhere else in the house. She doesn't know about the underground lair. Okay, she doesn't know. So why would she put that in the illusion? And Alia was incredibly correct, but morally I hated that Marinette was lying to her. Like, Alia gives her an out. She comes and she's like, first of all, she's like, I've worked this out. The only way this can physically work with the information you're giving me is that Gaby Baby has to be Monarch Daddy. Am I correct? And Marinette is like, why would I lie about that? And then Alia gives her an out and she's like, because I understand Marinette Dupencheng is an incredibly loving person who would ruin her own life in order to keep the pain of this secret. So she gives her an out. She's like, okay, you've lied to me, but I'm letting you tell me the truth. And Marinette still lies to her. So morally, hate, despise. However, I enjoyed the complexity of it. Really, really enjoyed basically Marinette trying to manipulate Alia. Like, oh, I remember, I don't know if it was on Twitter or someone on YouTube said that Marinette is basically in one way becoming a bit like Gabriel. Like, you see it with the scene with Adrian, when Adrian's like, hold on, you've helped me do this, but now you're not happy about it. I really do enjoy how Marinette, in some ways, not in all ways, she's becoming more controlling, a lot like Gabriel was. As for the 2 illusions thing, I am assuming that is Alia's power-up. When she got the ability to do that, I don't know. And by power-up, I don't mean surpass the 5-minute timer. I mean, like Marinette's Lucky Charms and Adrian's Miraculous Cat Noir, where he can erase people's memories. So I'm assuming Alia's, first of all in, is it Star of Revelator, where she is able to, you know, extend her time without having to detransform back. I'm assuming her power-up is that she can create more than one illusion at once. However, the thing with Roosterbold, now first of all, don't get me wrong, I am happy Roosterbold actually got to do something this season, because I don't actually believe he's used his power this season until now, I don't think. I think the, other than like a couple of like Miraculous meetings, I don't even think we've really seen Roosterbold that much. And yeah, I should know, I should be the authority on this because I am his mum, so you know what I mean. But so first of all, I am happy that he got to use it. And I understand the logic will create this layer of air, so technically you're not touching her, you're just touching very, very close to her, but not actually her. But surely you can't be akumatized then? I don't know. I just didn't think it was quite in keeping with the law, we've all been told. But alright, whatever. And as I've already said briefly at the start of the video, the plan. I do think it was a good plan, don't get me wrong, I do think it was a good plan. But I already knew the moment they started saying the plan that it wasn't going to go to plan, because they'd already told us. So part of me wishes the only part of it they told us were the 2 Marinette illusions and a Ladybug. And then Roosterbold puts the air on Marinette or whatever, however that actually works with the Akuma, I don't know, because I don't think it should, but whatever. And then just move to this illusion of Marinette getting akumatized, or even more mysteriously, maybe even skip the scene with Roosterbold and show it us afterwards in like a flashback instead, because I just don't think it was necessary. I think they should have just leapt straight into the plan and could have opened up a lot more space to have a lot more emotional conversations between the characters, because even though I did like the scene with Adrianette at the end, I don't think it was long enough. I think it needed to be longer, which they could have achieved by removing the whole telling of the plan. I think literally get the 2 illusions of Marinette, then just start the Akuma sequence, and then maybe have Alia doing the thing. Because one thing I did really enjoy about the plan was Alia basically, through that illusion of Marinette, telling the real Marinette how she was truly feeling. I thought that was done really, really effectively. I really enjoyed all the dialogue there. I thought it was great. And also Alia was amazing. I know Marinette seemingly came up with this plan since she's the one who suggested it to Alia at the end of their conversation together, but it did seem Alia, since Marinette was paralysed for part of it, Alia was the one communicating with the heroes the most, making sure everyone was in position. so she was the one in charge of it. Alia was absolutely amazing. However, there are also two other things I have to question about the plan. The first one is a Lucky Charm. Whilst I really like what the Lucky Charm hints at, the caterpillar, Marinette does a Lucky Charm right away, and she gives it to Alia to hold on to, just in case, which she was right to do. However, because Marinette de-transformed, surely the Lucky Charm would disappear, but Marinette throws the same Lucky Charm in the air at the end. So unless after she transformed she did a Lucky Charm and got the same thing again, I guess that's possible, we just didn't see it. But that doesn't make full sense to me. And the second thing is about Ryuko. As funny and slightly creepy it was to see her, you know, travelling along the edge of the street in the drain puddle or whatever, and you just see like half of her head in the water. That was funny. I just thought it was a little bit convenient. So during the plan, they already say, okay, Ryuko and Polymouse are going to be following the earrings. Polymouse I understood in any way the situation could have gone, because she can make herself tiny and basically hide with the earrings. Cool, I'm not going to question Polymouse's part. However, Ryuko, it kind of seems Ladybug already knows that the earrings are going to be left in a body of water, because how else would Ryuko be able to follow them? As a cloud, maybe? I would have thought she'd be too far away to be able to do that. You know, the wind dragon, like, would she just be around? I don't know, it just seemed a little bit too convenient, in my opinion, to do that, if I'm being honest. So whilst it looked cool, I understand the logic of it, it was like Ladybug already knew that the earrings were going to be put in the fountain when she assigned Ryuko that position. So it did seem a little bit odd, but whatever. Like something like Polymouse, I can I can get behind, because Polymouse could be used in any instance of that plan. The same with Miss Hound. Anywhere that plan was going to go, Miss Hound still would have been useful. Ryuko is only for a very specific situation, which also just happened to happen, as if Ladybug had prior knowledge of it, which she wouldn't do. So I just felt it was a bit too convenient. So it was just a bit like, okay. But also Nemesis though, Nemesis herself, she was amazing, very strong, and again I loved how it was like Marinette and Alia having a fight almost. I thought that was great. However, I just realised with Polymouse, Alia is on the phone to Ryuko when the fireman picks it up, and Rena Rouge is like, don't lose the fireman. And then immediately after, Ryuko loses the fireman, and Rena Rouge is like, it's okay, we got it from here. I really would have liked to have seen Polymouse arrive, because I'm pretty sure you don't see her unless I completely missed it, because she would have been tiny, I don't know. But I did really enjoy the plan with Marinette and Alia, where she de-transforms and they get the earrings back, and she retransforms and they go. But then Marinette is like, we need to talk, and I'm like, yeah you do, just not right now, go! You idiots, don't talk about it now. And I really enjoyed the burning of the diaries. It obviously had to happen. I don't know what Lala's written in them, whether there are clues about her identity. I would assume she'd been smarter than that, so perhaps it's just all of her plans and maybe her observations on the Miraculous, maybe something like that. But I did really enjoy all the running around in, were they in the sewers, the catacombs? I couldn't tell, it got quite dark at some points when I was watching the episode, as in on screen. I'm not really sure where it was, to be honest. Somewhere underground for sure, but I'm not sure where exactly. And then we moved to the Marinette and Alia scene. And like I said, I agree with Alia. I've been in agreement with Alia before Alia found out. I've been in agreement with Alia since Recreation first aired. So I was just like, no, this isn't the right move. I still don't think it was the right move. In terms of writing, I enjoy the conflict, but morally I just can't get behind it, sorry. And Alia was 110% right in that scene. She was right. She's always right. It's because she's Alia and she's wonderful. And I understand the logic behind it for Marinette. I get it. I'm not gonna pretend I don't get it. But I also can't agree with it at the same time, you know what I mean? Like, no, can't do it, sorry. And I am also glad Alia is still agreeing to be there for Marinette. Like, she's like, if you ever lie to me again, that's it, we're done. But I just feel there's gonna definitely be some friction between the girls going into next season. It's not just gonna be like Alia can just forget about it. You know, every time she sees Marinette and Adrian together, whether they break up or not, they just see them in a room together. She's gonna think of it. She's gonna think of it every single time she sees Marinette. It's just gonna be heartbreaking. And then I don't know if one of the plot points next season is Adrian really wanting to open like this exhibit for his father. Ali's just gonna be like, you need to tell him before he puts this massive statue of his dad in his garden and tells the rest of the city how great his dad is. You need to do this. You need to tell him now. Now the metro scene was really, really interesting. One of my favourite scenes from the episode, with the Lucky Charm finally being properly useful. The last time the Lucky Charm was this useful was in the season 3 finale, I'm pretty sure, where it's a caterpillar and they realise, oh, a caterpillar can change from one thing into a butterfly when it goes in its chrysalis. They obviously still haven't got the hint about her name, but I loved it. As for how she acquired this power, part of me wants to say it's a power-up, however it seems that Lila's power-up, this is assuming you can only have one because I don't know, I am assuming the power-up is the anti-Kumas, where she can like depower the heroes. So what I'm assuming this is maybe it has something to do with the lightning at the end of season 5. But I don't know, because honestly I really think the writers have forgot about it. But honestly I think this is a pretty easy thing for the Miraculous to get around. All they need is like code words that they say back to each other, something like that, assuming Lila doesn't know where the Miraculous hang out and she doesn't infiltrate them and, you know, I don't know, not quadder them out and then goes in pretending to be them. That'd be really interesting. So I don't know if they have to do like checks where the Ladybug makes them do their powers, because I would assume Lila in her, let's just call it a chameleon disguise, like as King Monkey for example in the chase sequence, she wouldn't be able to use his power. She just visually looks like him, visually has the Miraculous, but she doesn't actually have the Miraculous, doesn't actually have the power. So I would assume those would be the two fail-safes. Use your power, and we also have code words or code phrases. I always like a good code phrase where someone says like the first half and other people reply with the second half. That's always fun. And then we have the Adrianette ending. Like I said, I liked it. I like how sad Marinette is in the scene and that she's been slightly honest with Adrian, but it's just really falling flat on the face because of pretty much everything that happened in Lady Chaos. It's just, no, it just was a really underwhelming scene for me. Although I did like her outside talking to Tiki. She's like, yep, that's it, we have to break up, and you also hear the clap of thunder, so hopefully meaning there is change coming for their relationship, which I think they need it. I'm sorry, I just can't get behind them carrying on when she's lying to him. I understand from a writing perspective, but also just morally, when you write for children, you do have to teach them lessons about things. When it's really young children, it's things like colours, learning how to count, learning the alphabet. But when it gets older children, it's things like relationships and lying. And for example, this season's really good. There's been an episode about homophobia, an episode about death. It's been really, really good for that. So I'm just like, morally, you can't keep letting your main character get away with this. Because that's pretty much all Marinette has been doing this season, is lying to Adrian and getting away with it. And I know she's feeling guilt, and I do think that's good in order to teach children, like, if you lie, this is what will happen. But I'm like, we've revisited this plot point so many times this season where Marinette has lied to Adrian and then she feels guilty about it. And I'm like, yeah, we already know that. It's like one reason why I dislike Queen of the Dread Zone is because we've already been told Chloe wasn't being redeemed, so they bring her back to obviously not redeem her. So I'm like, what was the point of that? That was a bit of a wasted episode, because we already knew it wasn't going to happen. So I think had this episode been maybe, do you like it last season? We got a part 1, part 2 right in the middle of the season. Had Nemesis been in the middle of the season with another episode, not Secret Protocol, as a part 1, part 2, and Marinette has this realisation with maybe Alia mid-season finding out, I think this episode would have been a lot more effective. But as a season finale, no, in my opinion. It was an okay episode. It's 7 out of 10, obviously. MVP, quite obviously Alia, she did amazing. But yeah, I just found it underwhelming as a season finale. I think between the two, Secret Protocol is a standout, much better episode overall. And the things to improve this episode, I think, would be, other than the illusions, not saying anything about the plan at all, just have the illusions of Marinette, have Mark do his thing, which I'm not actually sure technically works within the lore of Miraculous, but whatever. And they just get on with it, so don't bother reiterating the plan because it wasn't going to work anyway. Just move, just do it. Have Mark do his thing to the illusion Marinette and then just carry on. And then I think there would have been a lot more extra time in the episode for, first of all, a more emotional conversation between Marinette and Adrian, whether she breaks up at the end of the season. That would have been interesting to see, more of a cliffhanger as well. Also a better conversation between Marinette and her parents. I know this wasn't, again, a part 1, part 2 like other ones, so I wasn't strictly speaking expecting it to happen, but Marinette tells Alia in that first scene between them that Marinette's parents are really worried every time she goes out. I'll be honest, the one time we saw them in the episode when she comes back and they've got snacks for her, they don't really look worried. So Marinette's told us that, but we've been shown something different. So it's not quite going together. And also I think a scene maybe ending the episode with Lila would have been more effective, to be honest. So I think there are a lot of missed opportunities in this episode. It was a bit meh. So I think the main issue is the plan, don't tell us the plan. Her parents, again, I wasn't expecting a full-on part 2, but I think they should have been included more since the show and tell details don't match. Honestly, maybe break up with Adrian. Don't tell him the truth, but just be like, we can't be together, I can't tell him the truth, let's break up. Honestly, I think the episode should have ended like that. And then maybe have the post-credit scene with Lila. Maybe confirming she's indeed ugly, because now we know that is definitely a possibility. She's not putting on makeup or whatever, she could just be ugly. In her chameleon form, however that is working. Is that with the lightning? Something to do with the council? I don't know. Yeah, I just thought there was a lot of missed opportunities. So 7 out of 10. Pretty good, but not the greatest. I think we've had better episodes this season, and it's a shame that the finale isn't one of them, sadly. Sad times. But anyway, that's all I have to say about this episode. If you're going to leave me a long comment, that's great, I can't wait to read it. Just please break it up into some paragraphs so I can read it more easily. And I am really sorry I am behind on replying to comments. I've got some personal issues going on. Don't want to talk about it. It's just made a lot of things that would be usually quite easy, like replying to comments, quite hard to do, because I'm struggling to have the mental space for it, if that makes sense. But I am really grateful for everyone's support. Thank you so much for your support this season. I will be back for next season and in between the season, of course, because I've got loads of video ideas, which as always, please leave your theory ideas below. I'm gonna rewatch the whole season. I have a list of all the videos I want to do. So on Thursday, I think we're just gonna kick things off with a theory video right away, because why not? So let me know what you would like to see me cover first. But yeah, I think that's everything I have to say. Thank you so much again for being with me this season, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!